Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to talk about Tooth and Claw, which is a brand new box coming from Games Workshop, and it is Space Wolves versus Genestealer Cults. And it takes place on the planet of Vigilus, which there's a video that was done. Phil Kelly talks about the box, and it is specifically mentioned that there is a problem with Vigilus in that it is essentially a nice little way station on a stable route across the Great Rift from one half of the Imperium to the other, and as such, everyone wants a piece. So this box is Space Wolves versus Genestealer Cults, but there is explicit mention of orcs in there as well, and of course it's completely reasonable, and you would be expected to think that chaos would be all over that shit because, well, it's an important planet. It's pointed out that this is just one part of a much larger conflict taking place on Vigilus itself, so this could in fact be a nice kind of campaign that's gonna happen. I mean, they talk about a thrilling story thread in the Warhammer community article, along with some nice images of the box, which we will of course put on the screen so you can see them. I say we, it's me. We. Yeah, there's two of me. That's a lie. There isn't really. So, as is fairly standard with these boxes, two armies, a core rule set, and a book exploring new lore. So even if you're, well, I was going to say even if you're not interested in the armies, you'll probably want to get a hold of the book in some way. How you would do that without buying the whole box, I couldn't possibly tell you. But, you know, there should be some good stuff in there, some interesting stuff, at least about Vigilus anyway, which it's going to be the basis of a whole new bunch of stories. You know, it's going to be part of a new story thread. Kind of nice to know what is going on with that planet. So the actual box itself is kind of interesting, to be honest, because at first it looked a little bit sparse, but I think my problem is that I was comparing it to Solar Wars and Dark Imperium, both of which the models in there, I mean, Dark Imperium, there's a lot of Primaris in there, especially compared to this box. I mean, you had, 10 Intercessors, 5 Hellblasters, 2 Lieutenants, a Captain, and 3 Inceptors out of the Dark Imperium box. You've got 3 Aggressors, a Redemptor, 5 Intercessors, and a Captain. On the Primaris side, well, the Space Wolves side, for Tooth and Claw, I have no idea the relative value of Genestealer Cult stuff, but there is obviously more Genestealer Cults than there is Space Wolves, because Space Wolves are all Primaris and therefore cost a shitload of points, comparatively speaking to Genestealers anyway. The actual contents don't look too bad. I will say that there's a couple of things that I think we'll talk about quickly. There's a whole different video to be made in terms of what else we could see from this story thread, what else we could expect from this planet of Vigilus, and whether there'll be other box sets coming, whether we'll see smaller skirmish things arise out of it. That's a different video. We're just going to discuss this box specifically because we've got it in front of us. And the first thing that I want to point out is there is a surprising number of people who, when I was looking at the various kind of comments and reactions to this box, to this announcement, there's a lot of people who were like, oh, I was kind of hoping Space Wolves were going to get something new, but it's just more Primaris. There was also, I think, Valrak did a video when there was an image shown for it. I can't remember if it was leaked or shown, either way, where you could see the leader of the Space Wolves side in this box, whose name was mentioned in the video, and I cannot remember what his name is, even though I just watched the video so that I would know. Whatever. It's a Space Wolf, so it'll be Harold Iceface or something like that, won't it? There was a picture, some artwork that was put out, and in fairness, it showed a Primaris with a power axe, and the kind of the hope was that we would now see Primaris actually being able to have power weapons. That guy is in fact a battle leader, which I'm assuming will just simply be a renamed captain or lieutenant, whichever. I don't know 100% what the equivalent ranks are in terms of Space Wolves armies, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of those, given that he is the leader of this army. Interestingly, there are a couple of melee weapons hanging around on the intercessors. I don't think those are going to be actually represented in terms of war gear. I think they're there to look good. I'm going to be totally honest with you. A lot of people were like, "Oh, I thought we were going to get like some cool new Space Wolf stuff. I thought we were going to get some interesting things for Space Wolves, but it's just more Primaris." The fact of the matter is, at this point, that the Primaris is the cool and interesting new stuff. I mean, you might not like that it is. You might not like Primaris at all. You might not think they fit. You might think they look terrible. But from this point on, there is no such thing, I don't think, as a brand new exclusive unit for the time being. Anyway, it might happen again in future. We might see Primaris start to split off into more chapter-specific setups and war gear options, but Space Wolves are... I don't think they were ever going to get some sort of fancy new marine that wasn't just a standard Primaris intercessor. I mean, you can see on... I'll have pictures sort of rotating during the video so you can see what's in the box and stuff. There are, there's like a chainsword, there's a combat knife. I would be genuinely surprised, bordering on completely shocked, if those were properly represented in terms of points costs. I think when it comes to fancy new Space Marine stuff, if it's Primaris based, what you are going to get is what every other chapter gets. You might have a couple of extra options, you might have a bit of fanciness here and there, but by and large, if you're getting an Intercessor squad, it will be an Intercessor squad, and that's what it'll be. You will have the cool pattern bolt rifles, and that is the war gear they will have, because that is what Primaris Intercessors have. I mean, the aggressors, it's exactly the same. You can see, as the images are rotating, they're just aggressors with the... Is it the Flame Storm? Flame Cannon? Flame Storm? Is it Bolt Storm? Whatever. The fucking flamers on the aggressors. That's what you're going to get, because that is what those Primaris units do. I realise that for a lot of people that is genuinely disappointing, and you would want something different, you want something more chapter specific. I just don't see that happening for the moment. Maybe in the future? Possibly. But my feeling with the Primaris stuff is that Games Workshop is intentionally keeping it so that this stuff is as simple as possible. If you buy an Intercessor squad, regardless of which chapter you buy it for, you will get just what an Intercessor squad always gets, but they'll look a little bit different. I think that's just how it's going to work from now on. In fairness, it might be bad for Space Wolves players if you are hoping for brand new awesome stuff out of the box, but there is some interesting stuff for Genestealer Cults at the very least. There are Abominants now, which is an amazing name. So you have an Abominant, which just seems to be a massive roid-filled half-tyrannid freak with a giant hammer, which is absolutely fine by me. That's exactly what you'd expect to hear when you hear the word Abominant. And some new Aberrant. I still don't know how to pronounce this. It was even mentioned in the video, like Phil Kelly pronounced it. It's like it washed over me, and I went, oh, I could have learned how to say that there. But then I just didn't go back to double check, because I'm terrible and lazy. But yeah, the new Aberrants, whatever they are, they look really cool. Like, they look really good. I really, really like them. They're so weird and creepy and just nicely done skulls, I think. A nice mix between properly threatening and clearly outfitted with whatever they could get. You know, there's pickaxes, there's massive hammers. One was just holding a rock. It's like it's a cool look, and it's well executed. So yeah, there is actually new stuff in the box for Genestealer Cults, which I quite like. I quite like that they're using this method of getting new models out. I mean, we saw the same thing with Forgebane, where we had the new Knight Armigers. We had those come out. I actually quite like that method of delivering those models. I know a few people were like, oh, they're going to be exclusive. Again, I don't think the new Genestealer Cult stuff is going to be exclusive. It'll just be in this box for like a week or two, and then it'll be out properly. But they've done a good job with the Genestealer side. I can completely see how the Space Wolf side is a little bit lacking. I mean, essentially what you've got are Primaris with a Space Wolves accessory sprue. That is what they are. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are going. So I think it's unwise to hold high expectations for anything more than that. As I say, for the moment anyway. With any luck, like the Primaris stuff will diversify after a while. But for now, I just don't see it happening. I think for £95, assuming that's what this costs, assuming it's the same cost as Dark Imperium, Soul Wars, Forgebane, all of that, I think you're getting more out of it if you are a Genestealer Cults player than if you are a Space Wolves player. I mean, it will still be cheaper than buying the stuff separately, most likely. I mean, the Primaris intercessors are like 35. I'm assuming that battle leader will be 25 because that's around how much those characters cost. The aggressors, I believe, are about £30, and I'm pretty sure the Redemptor is like 40 to 45. I could be wrong about that, but the Space Wolf side by itself costs more than the box does in total if it is £95. So you can always sell off one side of it to recoup some of the money, or split it with someone. Again, another very good option. But I think in terms of shiny, new, interesting stuff, the Genestealer Cults have pretty much got it wrapped up for this one. Space Wolves, you get some accessories for your intercessors, and that's about it. I mean, when I say that's about it, even the aggressors don't look particularly more Space Wolf than normal aggressors do. There's a little bit of wolf tail talisman going on. Beyond that, not a lot happening with those. And in fact, even the actual iconography on the intercessors themselves is kind of sparse, and there isn't a lot of it. So, yeah, it's maybe a little disappointing for Space Wolves players, but it's also, for me at least, not unexpected. So I just kind of guess that's how that would go with the Space Wolf release in general. In fact, I think that's what he said in the video made a couple of weeks ago, talking about the upcoming Space Wolves Codex, about what to expect. I think, honestly, the answer is not much. More of this, more Intercessor, more Hellblaster, more Primaris stuff, with a little bit of Space Wolf accessory glued on for good measure. But yeah, the Genestealer side actually looks kind of cool. I like the Abominant, it's a cool sculpt, and I like the new Aberrants as well, also really good sculpts. So they're coming out of this looking pretty good, and I'd be interested to know if for the painting of those, the new technical paints were utilised at all. The ones that you are showing for like Nighthaunt, that I bought because fuck painting stuff properly when you can just give it like 2 layers and leave it alone. So I don't know. There's definitely that sort of feel I'm getting from it. So it'd be interesting to find out how those were painted, to be honest, because they look pretty fucking good. So yeah, the Tooth and Claw box. I suppose I haven't actually properly explained what's in it, so to speak. You've got Intercessors, you've got a Battle Leader, you've got Aggressors, you've got a Redemptor, the Aberrants, the Abominant. I nearly said Abominatron, but that's not a word. And you've got Hybrid Metamorphs, Genestealers, and the Acolyte Icon Ward. So there's a decent amount of stuff in there. Yeah, it looks good. To be honest, I'm more interested in seeing what else comes from Vigilus and what else is going to be in this story thread. So I think that's the thing that is drawing me more than the actual contents of the box itself, seeing what Games Workshop do with a narrative world and a new narrative thread. Be interesting to see what they come up with for that. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what you think of this box. I think it's a kind of divide of opinion box, to be honest. There's an interesting mix of stuff, but one side is clearly getting more than the other in terms of interesting and new fancy things. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think it's worth the asking price, assuming it is 95% pounds, which I'm guessing it will be? Or would you expect it to be cheaper? I thought maybe cheaper, but I'm leaning towards the 95 quid mark again now. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click video, Patreon, subscribe, all of that stuff. And tomorrow what we'll talk about is the potential for orc-based shenanigans on Vigilus, and whether we'll see some sort of chaos interference as well. That'd be fun. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.